Good evening. Case study WorldCom, Cynthia Cooper and WorldCom. Case about, let's just use the acronyms as they are, cooking the books. Cynthia Cooper was in charge of the auditing department. Her and her 24 members team had noticed some irregular transactions as they were doing the auditing process of their books. This is in WorldCom was discovered, or this was brought to light by her in 2002, 2003. At the same time, Enron was just energy company was just folding, going bankrupt due to massive cooking of the books. I mean, they were taking out short-term loans on forecasted sales that hadn't happened. If you remember, for those of you who could remember back, I mean, heck, this is 2000, 17 years ago. Wow, estoy viejo. Anyway, Enron, the state of California was really not bankrupting them, sorry, was bankrolling their shortfalls for mismanagement of funds, excessive spending, weaker markets in the energy with those rolling blackouts. So, that's what happened to them. And based on what had happened recently, so Cynthia Cooper, the government offers protection to the whistleblower. The government has set that up to protect the whistleblower, especially on gross negligence like this by the CEO or the vice presidents in place. These are people elected by a board and the shareholders that they put their trust in these people to manage their company and their shares. And unfortunately, as you read the case study, Cynthia Cooper sees some irregular transactions, questions it, brings it to light, and in questioning and bringing it to light, the CEO of WorldCom on April 29, 2002, after a $4 million personal, this is ridiculous how this was. How does a CEO of a company get a $4 million personal loan for a company he's managing? That right there is strictly questionable to me. But as other things keep coming on, and as she does her job in auditing, the wireless division has set aside a cash reserve, right? And another CEO the CFO takes it from that department, right, from the wireless department. In other words, let's not go into all the different divisions of this company. Short term is the company was moving funds within one division to the other division to cover the losses of one division, and basically a snowball effect. They couldn't make up the revenue back in Division A to give it back to Division C, and then Division B was short and couldn't help Division A and C. Not to point fingers and go through all these names. The Cynthia Cooper and her staff and two of her staff continued with the investigation as a side project besides doing their normal day-to-day functions in their divisions. Arthur Andersen accounting firm was questioned because they approved the transaction from one division to the other, which doesn't make sense because in accounting rules and business, if you really look at it, if the company knows that at some point in time there's going to be a shortfall, you keep a reserve. Sales, sales and products always go up and down. That's human nature. So if you know in your forecast history from the past that trending markets say first quarter is highly profitable, second quarter is medium, and then third quarter spike, and then Christmas, fourth quarter is volatile because of the holiday, you tend to reserve cash in the good quarters to cover your bad. That way, at the end of the year, you balance out, which is normal. There's nothing wrong with that. Instead of taking short-term and long-term loans. One other thing of the U.S., the way the stock market looks at companies is if the company has short-term and long-term debt, the stock prices tend to go higher because the shareholders end up to get more money, even though they're covering their loans and business is doing great. They don't need to take up their stock reserves. One of the things that also came back from what I know of the stock market is that companies that have low debit loans and things like that are public are more advantageous to hostile takeovers. Because if the company has no debt and is running in the green, hell, let's make a jump for it, and strip the assets that they have for the company or reorganize the company and stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons why now companies carry debt to keep off the wolves at the door, shall we say. Is it right? No. Does it happen as an everyday practice? Unfortunately, yes. Going back to whistleblowing. They had discovered that there was 2 billion suspicious activity in accounting services. Arthur Andersen, and then also KP, what's the name of that firm? KPMG, a new auditing company, double-checked her findings on her work, the company's new auditor, and the problem. They checked Cooper and Smith, talked to numerous employees, including Director of Management Reporting, and then found that they were actually cooking the books to the security, to SEC, misrepresenting the company's actual bottom line on the quarterly reports that have to be on all publicly held companies. A quick breakdown of WorldCom's roots. In 1983, they were known as Long Distance Discount Services. Bernard, the first CEO that started cooking the books, had become CEO. LDDS goes public. It acquires 2 other smaller companies, making it the 4th largest. And then WorldCom, LD changes its name to WorldCom Inc. after acquisition of Williams Technology Group for $2.5 billion. WorldCom completes its merger with MCI Communications for $37 billion, the largest takeover in history at the time. Okay. In '99, WorldCom stock hits its all-time high of $64 a share. WorldCom produces $115 billion mergers with Sprint, is blocked by the Department of Justice that had to do with antitrust grounds and monopoly laws and stuff like that. WorldCom stocks closes at $15 a share after that in 2001, struggling on depressed stock and a troublesome debit. WorldCom 6,000 employee nationwide. Stock closed at $14.50. And there's where, when the stock was weak, is there were all the financial cooking of the books to make it look higher, the stock price, when in turn it was just poor management of leadership. Just because they have the title of CEO and they're cooking the books does not make it right. At the end, Miss Cooper under whistleblowing law, is protected from any legal misdoing. The company actually, closes and gets sold off into pieces and is acquired by other bigger companies. The cooking of the books is unethical. It's wrong. You're lying to your shareholders. You're lying to the government. Security Exchange Committee. Does it happen? Yes. When they get caught, it's not. Unfortunately, they don't really go to jail for a very long time. Not long enough. It's white collar crime. The problem is now for Ms. Cooper is when she goes to apply for a job in another company, reputation is tarnished as being one, even though she did the right thing, but she was a whistleblower. Was she a whistleblower because she wasn't getting to partake in the activity and flourish the benefits of what she discovered? Or was she just doing it because, hey, that's the right thing to do? She has a perfect ethics. Companies that hire her will have that second notion in the back of their head. Thank you and good night.